Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh. Today is Wednesday, June 3rd, and in today's video we are going to be doing another stimulus update for those people on different Social Security benefits such as SSI and SSDI, as well as an update for veterans and railroad retirees. Now, before I get into the video today, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, giving me a big thumbs up, it really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of getting this video out to other viewers like you, and hopefully helping other people like you. In addition to that, leave a comment in the comment section below, letting me and others know whether or not you received your first stimulus payment yet or not. It really just creates a good conversation and lets those people know that haven't yet received their first stimulus payment that there are other people out there that still have not received their first stimulus payment, and they're not alone. And for those people who have not yet received your first stimulus payment, just know that payment is on its way. As you can see in the comment section below, there are a lot of people who received their payment today on June 3rd. So those people waited all the way until today to receive their stimulus payment, and there's going to be another large batch going out next week. So a lot more of you guys are going to be getting paid next week as well. So keep an eye out on the Get My Payment portal, and you should eventually receive a date. And of course, for all those people who are still waiting for their first stimulus payment, the most common question I'm getting is, why am I not receiving my stimulus payment yet? Where is it? How much longer do I have to wait? And the first question I'm going to ask them in return is if they've checked the Get My Payment portal yet or not for that particular day. And I know it seems like I'm kind of beating a dead horse in that way by asking that same question over and over and over. However, the reason I ask that question is because the payment portal is the most useful resource that we have at the moment. Even though it has so many errors and people are getting the payment status not available page, and it's really just not working for a lot of people, still it's the most useful resource that we do have. And whenever people are going to receive their payment, 99% of the time they get the payment date on the payment portal before they receive the payment. So that's the reason why I ask people if they're checking the payment portal. If you're getting payment status not available, 99% of the time, it just means you have not been scheduled a delivery date yet. So if it's too frustrating to be checking the payment portal on a daily basis, maybe just check it every few days, and you definitely don't even have to check it. Eventually your payment is just going to show up in your bank account or however you receive your benefits. But it is a good resource to continue to check. That way you know the payment is on its way. Secondly, another thing I would suggest is if you're getting the payment status not available error, you can always try to type your physical street address in all capital letters or abbreviate your street address for drive, DR, lane, LN. Sometimes that can work. Now, the reason I say to type your physical street address in all capital letters, for some reason, for whatever reason, sometimes that does work, where it can go from payment status not available to actually showing your payment date. And even though that glitch was discovered a few weeks ago, it still works where people can still type their physical street address in all capital letters, and for whatever reason the IRS portal begins working. So we just have one example. In the comment section of my last video, I had Kiari. She says, "Hey Josh, after waiting and waiting, I finally got a date from the IRS portal. As of June 3rd, I will receive my check. I put my address in with all capital letters and boom, I got it." So we have one example here in Kiari, one of many examples actually, where someone typed their address in regularly and they got a payment status not available. Then they went back in and typed their physical street address in all capital letters, and boom, just like that, it showed up with their payment date. Now, I'm not saying that this is necessary that you have to type your physical street address in all capital letters to receive your payment. Kiari most likely would have received her payment on June 3rd, whether she typed her physical street address in capital letters or not. It's just the fact that she finally received a payment date after typing her physical street address in all capital letters. Now, if you try typing your physical street address in all capital letters and you try abbreviating your street address and none of that works, then you can finally call the IRS. And once again, this is not necessary. You do not have to call the IRS in order to receive your stimulus payment. But if you have the time and you're not going to get too frustrated, you could call them. The number that you would want to call would be 1-800-919-9835, and I'll just leave that number up on the screen there if you do wish to call. And keep in mind, you are going to be waiting on hold for at least a few hours. And once again, by calling the IRS, you're not guaranteed to receive a payment date, and you may or may not receive help of your liking. So If you don't have the time of your day to be calling the IRS, then I would just continue checking the payment portal on a daily basis, and it should update to give you a date. And finally, just one more thing, just know that you are definitely eligible for your stimulus payment as long as you don't have any type of past due child support that could potentially offset your stimulus payment, and as long as you're not being claimed as a dependent on anyone else's tax returns. You're definitely eligible and you're definitely going to receive it. It's just a matter of when. All right, so with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some of the questions that I received in my previous video. So without further ado, the first one is from Curtis. Curtis says, when will I receive my second stimulus check for SSI? All right, thank you so much for that question, Curtis. And unfortunately, at the moment, a second stimulus check has not been passed. There is a bill out there called the HEROES Act, and that has passed the House of Representatives. However, there is a lot in that bill that the Senate just does not like, and it's not just the $1,200 stimulus checks. There's just a lot in that bill in general. So the Republicans and the Democrats are going to have to negotiate and eventually come out to something that they both like, and most of all, what's best for the American people. All right, so the next question today is from Earl. Earl says, hey, what if someone did their 2018 taxes, but not their 2019 year taxes, and they received SSA since 2018? Would they still get a check? All right, thank you so much for that question, Earl. So since you started receiving your SSA benefits in 2018, then you would definitely be eligible for a stimulus payment as long as you don't have past due child support and as long as you're not being claimed as a dependent on anyone else's taxes. And since you started receiving your benefits in 2018, since you started receiving them before 2020, then you would not have to take any action on your behalf to be eligible for the stimulus payment. All right, next question today is from Rachel. Rachel says, I'm Rachel and I'm the payee of my son who is 19. He has not received even the first $1,200. Please help. All right, thank you so much for that question, Rachel. So he would definitely be eligible for the $1,200 stimulus payment as long as you and as long as no one else claimed him as a dependent on their tax returns. If you or anyone else claimed your son as a dependent on their tax returns, then he would not be eligible for the $1,200 stimulus payment. But if he wasn't claimed as a dependent and if he doesn't owe any type of child support, then he should definitely receive the stimulus payment. And I would just recommend that he goes in and checks the payment portal to see when his payment is coming. All right, so the next question today is from Phyllis. Phyllis says, what about the VA stimulus payments? I have not been able to get a response from the IRS because they keep referring to our Social Security checks. We get our monthly military retirement check every month with no problem, so what gives? We have had the same bank account for 16 years, so there's no problem there. All right, thank you so much for that question, Phyllis. I know it seems like I'm beating a dead horse here, but like I've told many others, the Get My Payment Portal is definitely the best resource here. And if you get the payment status not available page, you could always try typing the physical street address in all capital letters or try abbreviating, but that page is eventually going to update. There are still thousands of people that have not yet been paid. So eventually you will receive a date, and it's really sad seeing people like veterans and people on Social Security benefits having to wait this long to receive their payment. It's sickening. Like I've said many times before, if I was in charge of these payments, if I was head of the IRS, I would have had these payments out the first day that I had access to the funds. All right, so the next question today is from Nancy. Nancy says, hi Josh, my name is Nancy. I have a question. Do you happen to know if people are getting their checks and then the notification letter after, or is it the other way around? All right, thank you so much for that question, Nancy. And for the most part, people are receiving their payments first, and then they're getting that letter in the mail stating how much they received and how that payment was issued. Now, in my case, I ended up receiving my payment, but I never got any type of letter. So I'm guessing it probably just got lost in the mail. However, there are a lot of other people who are receiving these letters saying that they received their funds via direct deposit, $1,200 in their bank account, yet whenever they go to check their bank account, there's nothing there. So what is happening in this case is the IRS is sending a direct deposit to their bank account of say $1,200, and then that same day they're also issuing out a letter saying, hey, we deposited $1,200 into your bank account on this day. However, on that same day that they issued the letter, the bank actually ends up rejecting the payment for whatever reason. It might be an incorrect account number. Maybe the name linked on the bank account is different than the name on the check. For whatever reason, the bank is rejecting the payment. They send it back to the IRS. So then the IRS has to reprocess the payment, and then they have to send out a physical check in the mail instead. So if you receive a letter saying that you received a direct deposit of whatever amount in your bank account, but it's not there, then I would be looking for a check in the mail instead. Okay, so the next question today is from Tansy. Tansy says, I have not received a stimulus check. I'm on SSA beginning this year and gave bank info on non-father's link. Same address and bank info for years. No child support or claimed as a dependent issue. Super frustrated. Okay, Tansy, thank you so much for that question, and I can definitely see why you would be frustrated with this issue. You've done everything correctly so far since you just started receiving your benefits in 2020. You did the correct thing by going through the non-filers tool and uploading your direct deposit banking information. So at this point in time, all you have to do is check the payment portal. And remember, as long as you don't have any past due child support, and as long as you haven't been claimed as a dependent, you're definitely going to receive the payment, you're definitely eligible, and you're definitely going to receive a date. So in the meantime, just continue checking the payment portal. Try typing your physical street address in all capital letters if it gives you payment status not available. But in the meantime, just keep checking and you will definitely eventually receive a date. All right, so the final question of today is from Manny. Manny says, on the Get My Payment tool, it says I get my stimulus May 28th and nothing. Didn't recognize the deposit they sent to, but it's not me. All right, Manny, thank you so much for that question. So you went in and you checked the Get My Payment portal tool and you see a direct deposit date of May 28th. However, the bank account number is not one that you recognize. So I would definitely be confused in your situation as well. However, just know this may actually be an old bank account number for you. So you might want to go back and check your records and see if you have an account that you recently closed or one that you had in the past, and see if the account number that you previously had might match up with this number. However, even if the IRS did just pick a random number to send it to and someone actually has that account number, the bank will reject that payment and they're going to send it back to the IRS. The IRS is then at that point going to have to reprocess the payment and send you a physical check in the mail instead. All right, so that wraps up all of the comments and questions of today's video. If you do have a question for me, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. As I've said before, I do try to respond to as many comments and questions that I possibly can. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this one and you'd like to see more videos like it, please subscribe to my channel. At the moment, I am posting daily stimulus payment updates. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.